Welcome to Emotional Badass, where Moxie meets mindful. I'm Nikki Eisenhower, your host, life coach, and psychotherapist. And on today's show, we are breathing into the body. I didn't grow up dancing as a teenager. I did a little bit of gymnastics, but when I was a little bitty girl at about 5 years old. And I always missed it growing up. But I didn't do dance. I didn't do cheerleading. I didn't get into my body as a young woman. And if you grew up in a home with a lot of dysfunction, if you were healing childhood sexual abuse from a family member or from another trusted adult, you may find that you have sort of a disconnection between mind and body. It's a hard thing to describe. It's a being in the head, sort of like a talking head, and not really being connected to the body. So many of you that I work with individually, and many of you listening today, you've thought all the things. You've read all the books. You're listening to all the shows, and you're wondering and you're stumped about why you can't feel what you know. That may be what healing is in large part, is connecting our body to our minds. Because in many different forms of trauma, when we are traumatized, our mind goes away from the body as a self-protective mechanism. So there's a residual effect where our psyche knows maybe how to be away from the body instead of in the body. When I first started going to yoga, I already had a psychology degree. I already had my master's in counseling. When that yoga teacher first said to me in class, "We hold emotions in the body," I thought, this is quacky yoga stuff. And sure enough, as we moved in that class, it was probably my second or third class. I was really out of shape. I was 50 pounds overweight. I had been working in bars in New Orleans when people could still smoke in bars. My lungs were not great. I quit smoking cigarettes maybe a year and a half before I got into yoga. And sure enough, in this class, we start to work into the hips, and I start getting angry. And as I'm getting angry, this teacher says, "We store anger in the hips." And because we were already in the hips, I think that made me quadruple angry. I had a lot of anger that I was carrying back then. I knew that in my head. It was totally foreign to me to consider that my body would carry that and that I would have to release it from my body. That sounded so hippy-dippy and just like a load of crap to me back then. But what yoga does is it gives you your own proof. So I was forced to sit with myself, with my face red from being out of shape and being physical, red from anger, trying to push back frustration tears that I know so many other highly sensitive people feel as well. And I had to really face that the teacher was right. And that this was part of the work that I needed to do, even though it was uncomfortable for me, even though I didn't understand it, and even though it spoke and taught things that didn't make sense to me based on my education. And sometimes that really happens to people who are highly educated. I remember watching a singing competition years ago, and a person was highly trained in opera. And her voice was beautiful. It was stunning. But the feedback from the judges was that she was too controlled. She had been taught the right, perfect way of being, so much so that her expression lost soul, lost body movement, lost the feeling of being like in the body. It was as if she was singing from the head. And when we just live from the head, something's missing. So I had grown up seeing gymnasts. That's why I liked going to gymnastics and dancers. When I would watch dancers, I couldn't understand how they could have the control to move their leg, to think I want to do a spin and make their body spin. And I may have been so fascinated by those things because I grew up in so much trauma that I was very disconnected from my body. I've learned that as a healer that many of you are going through this very same thing, but not being able to put words to it with your doctors, with your therapists, with your life coaches, with your spiritual communities. So what I want to do for you today is help us get in the body. We're going to go through a little meditative body breath exercise. Because what I didn't understand about how athletes and dancers and gymnasts could control their body in movement, what I couldn't understand about that, yoga taught me. One of the ways it teaches is matching breath to movement. Now, I did yoga went to class and did full yoga classes 3 to 6 times a week for 2 to 3 years. And it was only at between 2 and 3 years that I started to be able to match my movements with breath and start to feel a sense of control over my body. So we're going to work within that today. So if you're just getting started in a yoga practice, if you've been resistant to it, if you feel uncomfortable, if you feel awkward, you don't know the Sanskrit terminology, I'm going to talk more about yoga in a future episode. So I'm offering a meditation for you to meet me in this moment and meditate with me right now. So if you're ready for that, wherever you are, whether you're seated on the floor or seated in a chair, take a moment to feel your body. Close your eyes softly, lightly, just noticing the breath without trying to change or control it. Notice the edges of your body, the space where your skin ends and air begins. Lift tall through the crown of the head, spine long, lifting upward towards the sky, and the tail of the spine curling downward slightly towards the earth, lengthening. Feel your feet or your seat, your 2 sit bones, grounding into the earth, weighted down into the earth. And maintain this as we continue to breathe, reaching the body upward and simultaneously downward. Allow the jaw, the eyebrows, the facial muscles to melt and relax. Allow your shoulders to roll back down the back body and towards the earth. Come back to noticing the breath. And notice the breath deep in the low belly, getting round on the next inhale, allowing the breath to leave the body on an exhale. Give the body permission to deepen the breath, to breathe a little more fully, deeply, roundly into the low belly. Continue breathing rhythmically into the low belly, rounding like a little Buddha belly on a baby, and exhaling, pressing the belly button towards the spine, inhaling into the low Buddha baby belly, exhaling, pressing the belly button towards the spine, pressing the air out of the body, inhaling low Buddha round belly. Continue exhaling, continue inhaling, finding your own pace and movement. On your next inhalation, breathe into the left side body. Feel the left sides of the rib cage, the left lung expand. Maybe the right shoulder dips down just slightly towards the right hip as the left side body makes space for the breath. Exhale, come back to center, straight spine, shoulders and hips level. On the next inhalation, inhale into the right side body. Allow the left shoulder just to dip towards the left hip a little teeny tiny bit, making space through the right lung, making space through the right rib cage. Exhaling, coming back to center. Let's inhale again into left side body. Right shoulder dips down towards the hip, little bitty teeny tiny movement as the breath expands. Exhaling, come back to center. Inhaling into the right side body, expanding through the right ribs, letting the left shoulder dip down towards the left hip, finding space and openness in the right side body. Exhaling, coming back to center, straight spine, hips level, shoulders level. Inhale into the front of the body, the front of the belly, the front of the heart, the chest, feeling the breath sit in the front area of the torso. Maybe the shoulders lift and dip backwards towards the back of the body. Exhaling, allowing the heart to sink towards the spine just a little bit. Inhaling into the front body, the belly lifts, the heart lifts towards the sky, the rib cage, the heart space opens up, making space for the breath, and exhale into the back body, letting the heart press against the spine. This time, let's play with inhaling into the back body, into the shoulder blades, letting the shoulders and the back body expand, getting wide like wings. Breathing into your wings. Inhaling into the back body, expanding your angel wings, the shoulder blades, wide. Exhaling, letting the heart come back to midline, back to center, front to back, side to side. And let's do one full deep breath into the fullness of the lungs. Inhaling deeply into the low belly, into the left side, the right side, the front body, the back body. Big giant breath at the top of the breath. Pause. And exhale fully, pressing the belly to spine, letting the air press out of the body. One more big, deep body inhalation. Filling up the lungs, front body, back body, sides of the body, into the toes, into the top of the head. Big, giant inhale. Hold it at the top of the breath. Exhale all of it out of your body, from toes to top of the head to fingertips, front body, back body, sides of the body. Take a moment, come back to just a regular breath, feeling the edges of your body, feeling where the air touches your skin, where your body starts. Note this feeling in mind and body. If you have the time, just sit here a few moments, letting the cells of your body get to know this feeling. Open your eyes whenever you're ready and go about your day. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing the show. Thank you for meditating with me and changing your world and the bigger world. You're part of the butterfly effect, and I appreciate you. We need your support on the show to keep going, to keep hitting these milestones, to keep growing. We need an assistant on the show. It's getting important. So thank you so much, those of you who are our patrons and producers. If you'd like to support the show, 5 stars on iTunes is a huge help in podcasting. So please get on if you haven't done that already and give us a 5-star review. That will help us connect with more new people. If you'd like to be a producer of the show and support us from your pockets to our pockets to help cover the cost of the show, come find us at patreon.com/emotionalbadass. We have tons of content for you there, and it's growing every single month. Thank you so much. If 1% of the listeners got on Patreon and supported the show, we would be hitting goals every single month and growing exponentially. So thank you for helping me envision what's possible. If my work resonates with you, I would love to have your healing energy in my next online offering. It starts October 22nd. It is Guided Intuitive Soul Care, Boundaries in Dysfunctional Relationships. Come find me at NikkiEisenhower.com to register today. Use coupon code I am ready to save a nice little chunk on that. I would love to have you there. There's a payment plan option. I would love to have as many of you as would like to do the work. This is the first time I'm doing a guided course. I have another course that is self-directed, but this is a guided course. We have 14 lessons and activities. I will get on twice a week. It's for 4 weeks starting October 22nd. I will get on at least twice a week for webinars to lecture about each topic and to answer your questions. So it's a great new way to be able to work with me. So I would love to have your energy there to do that work. I'm a great believer that all of us need help, support, and mindfulness around the boundaries that we need as highly sensitive people to manage the world, our family systems, the way that we are different, and we must learn how to honor ourselves if we are ever to expect our communities to honor us and to see our sensitivity for the strength and the gift that it is in us and for the world. I would love to see you. The name of that course is Guided Intuitive Soul Care, Boundaries in Dysfunctional Relationships. Okay, so I would love to see you there October 22nd. Thank you so much. Take care of yourselves. Until next time, I'm Nikki Eisenhower, and this is Emotional Badass, where Moxie meets mindful. Bye-bye.